On expanding the city's housing stock by permitting 100,000 new units of housing by 2021 and by growing the combined federal, state, and local resources dedicated to affordable housing, production, and preservation resources. The mayor has also demonstrated leadership on affordable housing policy during his tenure as chief of Metro by introducing motions to develop affordable housing on vacant MTA land adjacent to the region's expanding Metro rail network. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your continued work on housing issues in LA. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mayor Garcetti.
Good afternoon. Muy buenas tardes. And thank you all so much. Thank you, Ken, for the kind introduction. I'm here with the Dream Team. I want to thank my fellow elected officials first. Steve Zimmer, who is president of the school board. I've known both of these men from, they kind of trained me, I should say, as a council member. One who was a community activist, well, both were community activists. One was a community activist in Frogtown, Elysian Valley, putting together the first community center there. This teacher from LAUSD, who later went on to be a school board member and now the president. Steve Zimmer has a heart of gold, but he also has a vision. And he was one of the early partners who said, can we do this? Absolutely, we can. So thank you, Steve, for who you are and all that you've been doing. I also came to another neighborhood activist who I met was a guy named Mitch O'Farrell when I first ran. He was clearly heads and shoulders above and in front of issues and his community in Glassell Park at the time. He took over as a field rep, then became deputy district director, senior project manager, now council member of this area. And he's taken whatever we've built and raised it to the next level. Somebody who has, in a time we were coming out of the recession and few people were talking about affordable housing, kept that drumbeat going here because not just in the 13th district, but citywide, we needed that leadership on the council. And he's emerged as that voice. I know urged on by our friends in the community, people like Selma, who from the very beginning, Yucca Corridor, LA Voice, which took me just to the church across the street with then Mayor Hahn, where we pledged to build 1,000 new units of affordable housing just in Hollywood alone. In the last crisis, actually the crisis has never stopped, let's be honest, and we not only met that goal but surpassed it. And now we've got another big goal. And what we see across the way is something which shows that we can break down the barriers, be they bureaucratic, be they geographic, be they economic, between people to build what is right for a community. We can't just average out the prosperity of a city. We have to look at those pockets of poverty and suffering and say something has to be done. We have the biggest gap between wages and rents in the country in LA County. So we're working on both ends. We raised the minimum wage, the largest city in the country to do so that people who work an honest living can have an honest day's wages and be able to pay for their rent. But we also need more housing at all levels. 100,000 new units, already 25,000, the most we've seen in decades, are in the pipeline today. But the subsidized piece is where we've seen the biggest gap. When the state got rid of redevelopment, when the federal government, and for those of you who don't know, the Senate budget proposes slashing our home dollars by 95%. With that in perspective, we used to get $50 million in home dollars from the federal government to build affordable housing like this. $50 million just for the city of LA. The Senate budget proposes $60 million for the country in total. It would be devastating to us. So please pick up the phone and talk to your senators, talk to your members of Congress and say that that is absolutely unacceptable. But we have a plan and we have a vision, and it starts right here. We can talk about the big policy, but if we can't find the sites and we can't find the way to get those sites working, we can't do anything. Which is why the school district has emerged as such a critical partner, and Abode stepped up for a new model. We did it in Glassell Park, in Rio Vista, Rio Vista. And now here at Selma, to say that yes, it's great that this is a tourist destination where tourists don't just come and leave, they actually stay now. And as an economic engine, it's 475% more taxes here than a decade ago being generated by their activities. But the prosperity that we see up at the boulevard shouldn't push people away from the housing and the neighborhood that they've helped bring back. We've cut crime in half here in Hollywood. We've seen progress, but we have to make sure that the promise of an affordable place to live is also made as well. These are our maintenance workers. These are our teaching assistants. These are our bus drivers. These are our nursing assistants. The folks who make sure that our kids have healthy meals to eat. They work hard to make sure that our kids are cared for when they go to school. But too often they can't even afford to live in the same city that they serve. So I'm pleased that LAUSD has taken the lead to work with the city and make this happen. 130 units right here, more affordable units that will become available. But the squeeze that LAUSD workers are feeling is emblematic of what we feel in the entire city. So I'm not big for speeches, I'm big for actions. You want to know how you can help? Pick up the phone and help find us, bipartisan, any Republican friends that are here in particular, call Republican members of the Assembly and the State Senate, and support AB 1335 and AB 35, which are Speaker Atkins' two bills that would add $600 to $800 million a year to subsidize projects just like this. If we just got 10% based on our population, that would be $60 to $70 more million a year. You can do that times 5. So that would mean $300 to $400 million more of housing in this city every single year. We're doing our part in Metro. We're doing our part with creative partnerships like the one we announced last week with Enterprise, where we have expanded a fund there to build affordable housing. But we need your help to get that done. Second, support this City Council and Mitch O'Farrell's efforts and my support as well of looking at a linkage fee where we can make sure. I have developers who are coming up to me basically begging me to say, can I pay you $5,000 a unit or something downtown to solve the homeless crisis that we have? If you care about this city, let's figure out a way to make sure that we have a dedicated source of funding, and let's do it now. Let's support the council's efforts. Third, since this is a big to-do list, you want to vote to keep doing this as well? When these projects come about, show up at a meeting and say, we want this in our neighborhood. Let's become raging YIMBYs, as we said in the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce a few years ago. Project YIMBY was yes in my backyard. I do want that cafeteria worker to be able to live right here in my backyard. Yes, I do want affordable housing to make sure that people can walk to the subway and work downtown and not put another car trip on the road and reduce traffic. Yes, yes, yes. So when you see projects like this coming forward, be that voice. It's so easy to turn out for something we're against. The boogeyman of affordable housing coming in, and people describe what those people are like. Well, you want to know who those people are? They're us. We are those people. They're people who become the neighborhood activists, who clean up the neighborhood, who do the right things, whose kids go to school, who are the investment in the next generation. So I couldn't be more pleased to be here today. Those are your 3 to-do things to review. Call Congress, actually it was 4, call Congress, call your state legislatures, support something at City Hall for a dedicated source of funding, and then say yes when these projects are here in your own neighborhood. And this model, whether it's at MTA, whether it's our Housing and Community Investment Department, I want to thank the leadership that is here, Rushmore Cervantes, who is the head of our HCID department. Thank you for your our work is far from done. So I'll go back to organizing. ¿Se puede?
Sí se puede.
¿Se puede?
Sí se puede.
Juanlitas?
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. We can do this. Yes, we can. Let's get it done. I can't wait to be at the ribbon cutting. Thank you so much and congratulations again.